Hi everyone, Ashley here. Hope you're all doing well. There have been some great updates in Zoho CRM since my last email and video. So let's jump in no particular order, starting with the free text field. So let's go over to the edit or the settings icon here and the modules and fields and leads. I'm just picking leads randomly and the standard layout. So in the past, we had access to two types of free text field. The first one was a single line. So if I just drop that in here somewhere, that's just a line of text. I think it's limited to, if I click on this, it should tell me, 255 characters. So collecting someone's name or something like that, something that's just a small piece of text. Great. We've always had access to that. We've also always had access to a multi-line text field. So if I drop this in here as well, this is where you need to collect a bit more information, maybe the description of a business, something like that. But what we haven't had in the past is the ability to add formatting to that field. So you couldn't have bullet points and you couldn't have bold text and, you know, all those kind of things that make the information more readable or lay it out in a format that's useful to you. You didn't have that. But now with this new update, we do. So there are actually three types of they call them multi-line text fields. There's three types now. There's a plain text small, plain text large, and rich text. So the rich text is the one where you can add your bullet points and your formatting, all that kind of stuff. So the differences between these, there's only a couple of differences. One is the number of characters. So you'll notice I'm on rich text and it says there's 50,000 characters that can go in there. Plain text large can have 32,000 and plain text small is 2,000. So that these two, plain text small and plain text large, the main difference there is the number of characters. They are just plain text, no formatting, nothing like that. But the other difference between these two is that the plain text small will allow, you can filter by that field basically. If there's information in there, for example, the word dog, for some reason you're searching, maybe you've got a dog grooming business, or well, hopefully every record would have the word dog in then maybe. But let's say you're searching for the word dog in that particular field. If you need the ability to search for a piece of text in that field, then your only option is to use this plain text small, because the other ones, you see this yellow warning here, it's just telling you that you can't filter by data in those fields. Okay, so that's the main difference. Another nice little quality of life feature that I've noticed here, maybe it was added previously, but I've only noticed it in the last couple of months, is this also create for option. What happens generally is that you have leads coming into your business, so a record gets created for your leads, and then hopefully you convert those leads to contacts and accounts. But what you would have to do is make sure, if you're passing information across to a contact record or an account record when it's being created, you had to make sure that that field also existed in those other modules. So once you created it in one, then you'd have to go to all the others and create it there. But by using this checkbox, it will just create it for you. So that's a really nice feature. So on to the next one. The next thing on the list is the Kanban view. So let's actually stay on the page we're on here, and I'm just going to click cancel. Some of you may be using a Kanban view. Some of you may not have any idea what I'm talking about, and that's fine. This is a Kanban view. So normally when I'm working in the CRM, I like a list view, so it almost looks like a spreadsheet. But a lot of people like to use the Kanban view. So the Kanban view is basically, it's making that data more visual and more interactive in a way. Because if you notice these, now we have columns on the screen, which represent different, actually, if I open one of these records, it represents a drop-down field in the record. So this Kanban view we were looking at was based on this field here, industry. And if I click edit, you can see there's all these options. And when you use the industry field, for example, it can be any drop-down field, for your Kanban view, it will create a column for every option on that list, and it will do it in the order that they are on the list as well. So whatever's at the top of the list will appear first, and then the next one. So if we go back to our leads module, we can see we've got those different columns along the top. Industry, for me personally, wouldn't be very useful, but you may have a use for it. But what we've got access to now, because we always had Kanban view, well, at least for the last few years we had Kanban view, but we can now have multiple Kanban views. So if I click this drop down that says test, this is just a test view I created, and click this other view called lead, you'll see that this one is now changed. It's exactly the same data, it's still the information from that list view, but now it's based on the lead status field. So if I click on one of these records, you can see that the lead status is attempted to contact. You can see there's other ones there. This is almost, the lead status field is basically used to create a kind of workflow for you, so you know where everyone is at in your pipeline. So we've got attempted to contact, contact in future, contacted, all different options here. If we go back to our Kanban view, you'll see each column is one of the options on that field. And now instead of going into the record and changing it to a different, changing the status, I can just drag and drop it into the next status. And if I click on that record, see now we're in the contact in future. If I click on that record, we can see that the field here has been updated to contact in future. There's no limits to this. If there's a drop down field in your record and you want to base your Kanban view on that, you can. But now you can have multiple Kanban views, and you can share those with just yourself, or you can share it with everyone in the business, or just specific people. So that's a really, really useful feature to have. So then we've got the next feature, which is send emails in the vendor module. So there's a vendor module. This is an out-of-the-box module, just like leads, contacts, accounts, deals. But in the past, you could list all your vendors, all the people you're buying services from, but you couldn't email them from here. So the workaround was to have a contact record that was linked to a vendor record. The vendor records basically represented the businesses you were buying from. But now we can open one of these records and we can send an email from here. So the vendor records can now represent people as well as businesses. So that's a great step forward as well. Another thing I've noticed as well, and I'm not sure if this was happening before or if it's part of this update, that you can also send emails from your custom modules as well. So if I create a module, let's say here there's services, if I created a module called services, and it's completely made up by myself, there's also an option there to send emails from that module. So that's a really nice feature to have. So what's next? The next thing is Kiosk Studio. So this is, and I said there's loads here, didn't I? So this is going to be quite a long video. The next thing is Kiosk Studio. So this is an example of Kiosk Studio. I'm just showing you some screenshots here from Zoho's blog, because setting up a kiosk, as they call it, is quite complicated, and it's not something I've got a use case for at the moment, but this will give you an idea of what you can do. So a kiosk is basically this user interface that you're seeing on the screen here, this white dialog box, and you can just create your own ones of these that are used to collect data in a specific way, but it will also give you information back as well. You can also go through logic with that. So if certain information is missing, or in this example we've got USA, Belgium and Australia. UK is not on that list, so there could be a rule that if UK is present, then on the next page when you click financial information, it shows different fields, or it goes to a different page, something like that. It's really unlimited what you can do with this, but the whole idea behind this is to make it easier for your team using the CRM to collect information. Let's look at some other examples here. A renewal policy. So if you're an insurance broker or an insurance company, it may be useful for you, rather than having your staff go in and create a new record for a renewal. Maybe there's a button that they press and it brings up this panel, and it gives them all the information they need. It gives them, look, it's got here a list of claims that the person's had. It's got effective date of the policy. And it's not just, like I said, it's not just this page. You can have this, go to another page and another page with different information. Really, really useful if you're looking for this type of functionality. This one has been created to book test drives for a car dealership. And there's another one here, which is to create and send a voucher. Looks like a money off voucher. So there's really no limits to what you can do. You just need the right use case, because you could do these things in the CRM by just creating a new record, but maybe your process requires you to create a record here and a record there, and using the kiosk mode, you can bring it all together in one interface and just do it all in one fell swoop. Right, next on the list is cadences. This is another new feature. Basically, cadences, I think they call this Cadence Studio. I may have got that wrong, but cadences anyway is about following up with your contacts or your leads. So we know that there's a lot of power in the follow-up. If you follow up with people, you're much more likely to get the sale. So let's make sure that those follow-ups happen. So here we've got a blank cadence. Now I can click add a follow-up. I can choose from an email, a task, or a call. I'm just going to click call. And here it's going to say, do I want to do this immediately? Do I want to do it? There was a page just before this one which tells you or asks you, when do you want people to come in to this cadence? When do you want it to begin? So we can just say like immediately, as soon as they come into this. This is the call module from Zoho CRM. So we want it's an outbound call. It's got most of the information here. We're just going to add in some information just so we can save this. Logged in user, purpose of the call, demo, follow up. Okay, so obviously you would fill this out with your own information and click save. So we've said immediately. So when whatever it was that was triggering this cadence to start, once it has started, the system is going to generate a call, and it's going to do, I think I did it 1 day after or 1 hour after. It's going to schedule that call for whatever I said, 1 hour after or 1 day after. But after that call's happened, how are we going to follow up then? So then we can add another follow-up, we can add another call, we can add an email, we can add a task. And once we add this, we can add, let's do another call here for a second. So let's do a day, 1 day after the previous call was completed. And let's say call start time is just gonna, I don't know if I can just leave this as 0. We'll try 0. Call owner is going to be the logged in user, purpose demo, test, save. Yeah, so now we've got our second follow-up call. And so the system is going to, once this one is finished, and assuming the conditions are still met, the person's still in this cadence, then it will create a second follow-up call. But see here as well, we can also create another action. We can create a task, we can create an email, and so on and so on. And I've tested it as well to see, can you only have up to 5 steps? But no, once you get to 5, it adds another column and another column and another column. So really nice feature here to help you stop missing follow-up opportunities. The email here as well, I can't actually send an email from here. It won't let me complete this step because I'm using a test system that I set up, a trial account to show you these demos. So my email address isn't set up here, it's not verified. But what would happen here is we would tell the system that it's based on the leads module. We did that when we set up the cadence, but it will give me then, when I click into this field, the email fields that are in my lead module. So I can pick who the email should go to, and I can click a template. I can say when it should be sent and save. And then that would appear here as well. And then the system would send that automatically as well. So it's a really, really, like I said, really nice to make sure that we're always following up with people. So we're coming close to the end now. Another couple of things. I can see this video is 14 minutes long already. So the next thing is bottoms up sales forecasting. So if I go to the next tab that I have open here, if you're wondering where forecasts are, if you don't see it along the top here in your modules, then you can just click on the 3 dots here and you'll find it here. And if it's not on this list, you'll just need to go to the settings. Let me just show you settings and fields, modules and fields, and then organize modules here. And then it might be switched off. So let's go to forecasts and do configure now. So you can see in the past, it was the only option was top down. So you set the targets, there were different ways of doing it, but you set the target and that's it. The bottoms up approach allows your sales team to set their own targets, which they think they can achieve. And it gives you the option to approve those as well, basically. So that's a nice feature to have if you're using forecasts or you're thinking about using forecasts. There's an option there now, and it's got a little bit more flexibility. The last thing that I'm going to show you, there's been a lot of changes, and in my last message I talked about email validation and DNS records, and you should look back on that if you haven't set up your DNS records for your emails. There's a high probability now that your emails will go into people's spam folders if you're sending to people with Gmail or people with Yahoo, and I'm sure other mail providers are going to be catching up with that as well soon. So what they've given us here, it's still pretty raw because it's a very new feature. If I go to emails under settings, there's an email deliverability tab now, and in that tab there's this option here that says email credibility, and this is your dashboard. So this is going to give you an idea if people are hitting spam on your emails that you're sending out. This is only emails sent out from the CRM as well, by the way. If people are hitting spam on those emails, if they're bouncing, all that kind of thing, it's going to give you that information here. It is useful. I have looked at it in my own account, not on my test account. It's showing the same score as you're seeing here, 71. So I have a feeling I do send out emails from my CRM, but I probably send out more directly from Gmail. Mine's linked to Gmail. So those emails that I send out wouldn't register in here. And the fact that this is showing 71 and there's no emails connected to it at the moment, and my own CRM account is showing 71, I'm not sure exactly how they calculate it. I'm not sure how accurate this is. I'm sure it's going to improve over time, but it is definitely a nice feature to have. And if there are any updates to this, I'll mention that in the future as well. So that brings us to the end, a long list of updates, and I haven't mentioned everything either because there have been so many, but some of them just aren't relevant to you guys. So I've just picked out the ones that either are relevant or things that you might have been thinking about that you might want to implement in the future as well. And as always, if you need any help with that, let me know. I'll be more than happy to give you a dig out. Talk to you soon. Bye.